Stephen A. Smith has been in the headlines as of late, ever since he did that podcast with Joe Budden that sparked a lot of heat towards his way on the way that he was talking about Max Kellerman. A lot of people over social media would come to Max's defense, especially the 5-time All-Pro Hall of Fame receiver Terrell Owens. The two of them would go back and forth over social media. However, it was Marcellus Wiley that would jump in the conversation and make things spicy with what he had to say about Stephen A. Smith when it came to Max Kellerman's situation. Recently, Stephen A. Smith was on The Breakfast Club, where he would address all the things that Marcellus Wiley had to say on his platform about him. Take a listen.
Now some weeks ago, something you said, which you said several times, you wrote about it in your book, you talked about, your experience with Max Kellerman working on the show. And I saw a reaction from Marcellus Wiley, and he said you got rid of Max Kellerman because Max wasn't dumb and white.
Okay. Well, let me say this. I'm going to address that last part. The first part, I'm not addressing it anymore, and here's the reason why. Some people want to do anything for clicks. Y'all don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. We're established. But others have to do that. And so when you see this the tsunami of comments and all of this other stuff, even my bosses called me. It was like, yo, man, it's in your book. Enough's enough. And I'm like, they're right. I had nothing to say about it anymore. The ratings speak for itself. The decisions that were made speak for itself. It is what it is. Business is business, period. In terms of what Marcellus Wiley said, now that I will address directly. And I only have one thing to say. He and I work together. Got a lot of respect for him. I know the man he was talking about as his best friend. I get all of that. No problem. Here's my only issue. For a black man to sit up there and say another black man is scared of somebody's intellect. Come on, bro. That's just the line you crossing. And I have nothing more to say other than that. That's sad that he would go that route. I guess that he's going to get attention because obviously everybody watches The Breakfast Club every chance we get, and he's going to see, talk about it. I'm certainly not going to argue with him. I've always had a lot of respect for him. Me and Marcellus Wiley have never had one issue. And I don't care what support he has for his boy or anybody else. I get that. I support my boys too. But I would never in a million years say that one black man is scared of the intellect of a white man.
Damn.
I would never, ever, ever do that.
So Marcellus Wiley wasn't feeling none of that and decided to go back on his platform today to address all the things that Stephen A. Smith said on that Breakfast Club interview. He wouldn't hold back anything, saying that Stephen A. Smith was making up stories to degrade Max's character as well as his credentials. I'll go ahead and play all the things that Marcellus Wiley had to say on Stephen A. Smith.
What I saw from Stephen A. Smith was just completely unacceptable on the Max Kellerman issue. Now, let me make this clear. That Stephen A. Smith went on a calculated character and credential assassination of Max Kellerman. It wasn't just a bad take. It wasn't just his first take, pun intended. He kept going. He kept doing it. And he kept lying, and the story kept changing. Now, I wonder why. Now, I addressed why in my previous video, and I'm not trying to go beat for beat, tit for tat with him. But I wonder why. And more importantly, now I wonder why your bosses, you say, don't want you to talk about it anymore. When you've been talking about it for years. Why now? I think the now is because even they are witnessing the BS. And they're like, the BS has got to stop. Okay. Now, I only made that video for Max Kellerman because you kept lying, and then you try to punk him out, especially when he's not even at ESPN anymore. He's not even on the network anymore, and you still had the audacity to go on Joe Budden's podcast and flex on him. Not just tell your side, but make up a side, make up a story, because it wasn't based on the ratings. It wasn't based on his credentials. Because that made no sense. The ratings were still high. You guys were still number one. And he never was an athlete. And I just found out from you that he was never a journalist, even though doing public access and being a boxing aficionado, and everybody from Mike Tyson on down swearing about how great he was as an analyst and as someone who could break down sports, I guess he wasn't a journalist. But you know who else wasn't a journalist? And it's funny because in this game, I followed Colin Cowherd in his footsteps to get to Sports Nation. Colin Cowherd wasn't a pure journalist. Tell me he ain't killing the game. Michelle Beadle, not a pure journalist. Tell me she ain't killing the game. Carissa Thompson. All the people, I could just keep going. I mean, people I worked with that weren't pure journalists. So it was never about the credentials. It was just simple. Max's presence on that show got to you, Stephen A. Smith. And it's okay because you had the power. It was your show. Just say, hey, I don't want to work with you anymore because I'm just not feeling this, and you got to go. I actually did that one time with one of my co-hosts. We talked to the bosses. I told the bosses first, told my agent. We had the same agent, told him. That was it. I didn't go on a tour and tell everybody anything else. I just had the power. I had the leverage, and I wanted to work with someone else. That's all you had to say, dog. Years ago. But nah, you know why? Like I said before, the truth is simple. That would have been too simple. That would have been true. Lies are complex. That's why you still kept talking about it. All right. So I had to make that video just because I thought you could be a little more decent than that. With your power, I didn't want your pride to get to that point where not only are you lying about something, but you're flexing with those lies. And why is that important to me, right? Max Kellerman is not my best friend. First of all, that's my dog, but come on, man. That's not my best friend. I'm not taking up for Max. What I'm really trying to do is reset the decorum, reset the conversations, reset the relationship between media and athletes. Why? Because I got kids. Why? Because I'm a coach. Why? Because I know these itty bitties look up to these athletes that people like you go out there and kill at times. People like me. I'm sure I've killed some athletes before too. Hey, I'm not sitting here saying I don't have any indiscretions, but I'm also not going on a multi-year tour of character assassination or credential assassination, which you did. So let the pride go, man, and let's talk through this for real. All right? You try to minimize Max. Try to minimize who he is, what he's done in the game, and what his resume is. Like, where did we get? How did we get here? That's messed up, bro. Because that's the same disrespect that Shannon felt from Skip. And that's why, largely, Shannon's not on that show anymore. When you put in that work, Shannon, I know. And for Skip to look at you, 3-time Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer, dude used to block the hell out of me. I know when I played against you. I know how that felt. Somebody cut you that deep. Like, dog, for real? You ain't got no respect for me? And Stephen A., I couldn't let you keep doing that to Max Kellerman because that dude has earned his stripes. You got to give him his flowers, no matter how you felt about him in terms of your relationship, right? So I'm just giving you that energy, that same energy you gave to Max Kellerman and that same energy you give to countless athletes. And that's the funniest part about your Breakfast Club interview. For you to go up there and knowing everything that I said, I hope you were prepared to because you responded to it. So I hope you gave a prepared response. To say that I was wrong as a black man to question another black man's intellect on a public platform, which I didn't do. I just questioned it. Woo! And you're not going to make me have to prove a negative. See, I'm smart too. You know what I mean? You ain't going to make me chase down something I didn't even say and then make me look worse. I'm not doing that, Stephen A. You know what I said. But I do know that you do question the intellect, the heart, the talent, the mindset, the capabilities, the health, etc. of black athletes every damn day on that show. Every single day. And you hide behind the cover of, I'm just doing my job for the bosses. That's very rich of you to try and make what I said into something you do every single day, which is highly hypocritical of you, Stephen A. Since I'm black and you're black, I shouldn't hold you accountable. Pick a side, brother. Either you're doing your job for the bosses, so you're holding everyone accountable. Who cares their color? You do too much of this color stuff anyway. You know, I should have known you're going to play the race card because you do it in your show all the time. Silly. But if you get licensed to do that, Stephen A, on First Take, then what's the problem when I do it to you? Man, I'm telling you, man, you either got to be truthful in this world or shut the hell up. It's just that simple. So I'm going to just hold you accountable like you hold these athletes accountable. No different. And you light these cats up. You know you cross the line. You get personal. You want to show fake receipts. You want to clown people. You don't want to make an enemy of me. Man, who in the hell ever says that when all we're supposed to do is cover the sport? How you going to be mad at somebody because they disagree with you or they doing it their way? I've seen all of this, and I never said anything about it, Stephen A, because I was like, these dudes can fight for themselves. And I was like, Max can fight for himself. I ain't tripping. But, dog, what I did trip on is that we're not going to bully these cats. We're not going to punk these cats. We're not going to take away their stripes. We're not going to take their hero status away from these kids just because you don't like them and they ain't getting in line to what your thinking is. So that's why I had to respond, right? I'm doing my job, strictly business for the boss. No boss is boss. All right, so.
And with that being said, let me know in the comments what you guys think about what was said between the two and who you guys are rocking with. Hit that like button so that this video reaches more people, as well as subscribe to our channel as we are on our way to 1K subs. I'll see you guys all in the next one.